Have you ever wondered if you can grow peppers from seeds? You can. In this video, we're going to look at the things that you need to know in order to take a pepper from seed stage to transplant stage, ready to go outside. I'd like to welcome you to my backyard Kentucky homestead. My name is Kim. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. And if you find this information helpful, please give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. To begin, we're going to look at 3 areas that will help you successfully grow your seeds this year and why you want to do it. And the first is benefits, the second is supplies, and the third is timing. After that, then we'll look at the varieties that I've chosen to plant out this year. Now, I'm going to be planting about 36 plants in my garden and also trying to sell some at a plant/yard sale. So if we look at benefits first, the first one is obviously cost. Well, there is some upfront investment in seed trays, potting mix, or seed starting medium. A little bit for seeds. You're going to save so much because I can get 1 packet of seed for $2 to $4, where I could get 1 plant at a big box store for $6. So I could have 25 seeds for just a fraction of the cost. I'm using a self-watering tray from Burpee that runs about $20. It has 72 cells, so I can plant out 72 seeds for $20, $2 for a packet of seed, and the whole bag of the seed starting mix that I'm using, also Burpee, was $7. So for $27, $29, I'm going to have 72 plants. So 72 plants for $29 is far less than you would pay for 72 plants at $6 a piece. Okay. So again, the first benefit is cost. Way, way cheaper. The second benefit we're going to look at is variety. So if you go to your big box stores, your Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, you'll be lucky if you can find 4 or 5 options. You might have your bell pepper, jalapeno, maybe a poblano, if you're lucky, maybe 1 or 2 others. Very, very, very limited options. There are actually hundreds of different variety of seeds. Hot peppers, bell peppers, long peppers. There's all kinds of peppers available out there. They have different tastes. They have different qualities. Some are fruity, some are spicy. There's just so much to choose from. So that is one of the reasons. You can choose what fits your style, what you want to grow. You'll hear on some of the cooking shows about, they're using this pepper, using that pepper. Well, where'd they get it? Well, they grew it from they got it from a specialty farm. So you can have those specialty peppers too without it costing an arm and leg. So variety. The third benefit is knowing how and where your plant was grown. I choose to garden organically. So I am using organic seed starting mix. I'm using organic fertilizers, both inside and once I plant it outside. I don't want to have harsh pesticides, chemical pesticides. They're not healthy for you. I don't want those on my plants. So growing them myself, I know that they're not there. So the next area that is important are supplies. So what do you need for that? You need seeds. You need a growing medium, such as seed starting mix. Some people use potting soil. I prefer seed starting mix. You need some kind of growing tray, which again, I'm using this 72 cells seed starting tray. There's a lot of other options. There's smaller ones where you can do 6 per cell. You can do individual cups. You could do solo cups. You could get 3-inch, 4-inch pots, 2-inch pots. You could even do soil blocking. So there's a lot of different options. Soil blocking may be the cheaper one. I just recently tried it. Didn't like it very much. So I'm may try it again, but not for a while. I'm going to stick with the containers with cells that I can just pop the seed into. After trays, the next important thing is lights. If you have a south-facing window with at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight, you may get away with growing the peppers there, but more than likely you're going to need to have some kind of seed starting station. If you don't have a grow light station, I recently published a video on how I built my DIY custom grow light stand. I'll link it up above. It is very customizable. You can make it to fit your space, to what you have for a budget. I chose to go a little bit bigger because I'm wanting, again, to sell some seeds. I had a yard sale in February, as well as share with family and friends. But this, you need to have some type of grow station to have enough light for the peppers. Also important with peppers is having a heat mat. They need to be warm and cozy to germinate. So unless your house is a balmy 75 degrees, which will make most people sweat, you're going to want to have a heat mat underneath that running for at least 16 hours a day. The sixth item that you're going to need is water. Now, the important thing of water, which is another reason why I'm using a self-watering seed tray, is to not overwater. Peppers do not like to have soggy roots or soggy soil. So you need to be careful that you're not overwatering. If you start seeing leaves turning yellow and kind of wilting, it's likely that you're overwatering. So you want to let the dirt, the soil dry out a little bit before you water again. Using this self-watering tray, there's a wicking mat that helps pull the water to the bottom of the cells, and it absorbs what it needs without being too much. Also, even if you're just using a regular tray, regular potting containers without the wicking mat or the seeds, that self-watering tray, water from the bottom if at all possible. Adding water to the top leads to algae growth, could also lead to dampening off. So you want to, as much as possible for all your seedlings, water from the bottom. Water on top is just not a good idea, at least after they have germinated. The seventh item that you want to consider is having a fan, and there's several reasons for that. The first is that it can help eliminate some of that issue with the algae growth, with the dampening off, because the top of the soil is just too wet. You can get other fungal diseases as well. So the fan helps to dry that, keep that airflow going through the plant, keeps it healthier. Also, it helps make the stems stronger. Once you put the seedlings outside, they're subjected to all kinds of adverse weather, wind and rain and sun and storms and, birds flying by. So having that breeze from the fan on them on a, consistent, and I have 2 fans in my grow room that I move around a couple times during the day, in the morning and the evening at least, so that each of the shelves has direct wind blowing on it for a few hours. The final area that you want to consider is your timing. Peppers are generally recommended to be started 8 to 10 weeks before your last frost date. Hot peppers can take longer. They can take up to 12 weeks, or it's recommended up to 12 weeks before. Hot peppers can take 4 to 6 weeks just to germinate, forget actually starting to grow up. So you want to probably have all your peppers done by at least 8 weeks. I'm starting at about 10 weeks. My last frost date is sometime at the very end of April, 1st of May. So I'm about 10 weeks out from that. I'm going to go ahead and start all my hot and sweet peppers today. It may be necessary because I am starting some of them, the faster growing ones, may need to be potted up. And where I am using smaller cells, they probably will need to be potted up. But I actually enjoy that, so it's not a problem. But don't be surprised if you're doing really hot peppers. It could take 4 to 6 weeks to germinate, and they grow slower. So get them started, get them growing, don't overwater them, and they'll be good. Also, with regards to transplanting them outside, peppers do not fruit unless the temperature is between 65 and 85. So 65, they're like, oh no, I'm too cold, I'm not going to work. 85, they're like, hey, I'm on vacation, I'm not producing any more fruit right now. So you want to get your peppers out as early in the season as you can, with one caveat. If peppers are subjected to temperatures below 50 degrees, they'll get stunted. It may take them weeks and weeks to recover, if they recover at all. To be happy and to be the safest, what you want to do is actually wait until your nighttime temperatures are averaging at least 60 degrees. So you look at your 10-day forecast, it looks like 60 plus, you're good to go. Go ahead and plan them out. But again, it's a tight window there, depending on your climate, because they need to be out before it gets too hot, but they can't be out too early. So 60-degree nights, fruit between 65 and 85. My plan this summer is once that temperature starts to get up to 90, I'm going to put some shade cloth on them, which should help keep that temperature below at the plant level lower. So I'm hoping that will continue to help with the production of the fruit. Another thing that you want to consider or do is to pinch off the first blooms, especially if they start blooming inside. Now, if you start too early, if it's too warm, they may start blooming. Pinch those flowers off. You don't want the plant to start fruiting before it's planted out. You probably also do not want the plant to start fruiting within a week of being planted outside. So for that first week or so, pinch those blooms off. Let it focus its energy on building a strong root base, a strong stem, and then later on, you'll have more fruit, be more productive, be a healthier plant. So go ahead and just pinch those first flowers off. There's also another controversial topic about pinching the leader off of the pepper stem. There's reasons to do it and there's reasons not to do it. I'm going to link to an article below that gives a really good information about how, why, and when you would want to do it, when you would not want to do it, and why you would not. So please consider reading that if you're interested in that. Some of the reasons for pinching them is to create more branches, could create more airflow, could create more spaces for fruit to grow. But at the same time, if you do it at the wrong time, you could kill your plant. If you do it to the wrong type of pepper, it could really hinder it. So please read that article before you consider that. Let me share with you the seeds that I've decided to plant out in my garden this year. I have 23 different varieties of peppers. This is not all of the varieties I have available in my seed collection, but these are the ones that I decided to try this year. Some of them are new, some of them I have grown before. So I'm very excited about the results of what we're going to get from this. I'm going to plant probably about 3 to 4 of each, 3 to 4 cells of each seed. I may do 2 seeds per cell to be safe, to make sure I get full germination. It is possible also to plant 2 peppers together. I actually did that out in my garden and they did fine. So if you have 2 peppers growing together in the same seed cell, you plant them out together in the ground, they tend to support each other. So it worked out very well. So here's what I'm growing for the 2024 gardening season. King of the North sweet bell pepper, Keystone resistant giant sweet bell pepper, Coral Bell sweet bell pepper, Purple Beauty sweet bell pepper, Advarsky, sweet banana, Corno de Toro red, Corno de Toro yellow, Cubanelle, pimento, habanada, shishito, Santa Fe Grande, Ancho Grande, Mulatto Islano, Anaheim Chili, Cayenne Orange, Pasilla Bajío, Jedi Jalapeno, Habanero Caribbean Red, Serrano, Cayenne Long Slim, and Fireworks. So what the Burpee 72 cell self-watering tray contains is a wicking mat, 2 stands to keep your seeds raised up. And how you will water this is that you'll just fill the bottom with water once they've germinated. Put your wicking mat in, put your seedling tray on top of it, put the other one over here, and then it'll wick up the water. Since I need the seeds to heat up, what I'm going to do for the time being is take out the wicking mat and the seed tray, and the seed stands. And I'm going to just put these directly into the container And then I will place this on top of the heat mat. So pepper seeds need to be planted about 1/4 inch deep. So what I'm going to do is go through using the end of the pen and just make 2 small 1/4 inch deep holes in each of these cells. So 2 things I did not mention earlier. This kit also comes with a heat dome, which we'll put on after when we put this over onto the heating mat. And also, what I used for the pot or for the seed starting mix was a Burpee organic seed starting mix. Put it into a tub, put water in it till it was moist. You want to have it to where it'll kind of hold together, but it doesn't drip. And then you just poke it into the holes and literally make sure they're. You don't want to compact it completely, but you want to make sure that they're very well filled. Seeds need to have constant contact with the soil, as well as the water and then eventually the light. If there's air pockets in there, it can cause damage and can cause the seeds not to germinate properly. So I'll link a video above where I did that process. So the next thing I'm going to do, go ahead before I plant these. So I'm going to make up all my labels. It's very important to make your labels so you know what you have. Last year there was a little bit of a situation, we'll say, where a major seed company mixed up some of their hot peppers with some of their not hot peppers. I don't know if that's what happened in my case or if I just mixed the tags up, but I ended up with peppers that were not what my tag said. So it's just very, very, very important to make sure you have all your tags labeled and they stay with the plants. So let's get to that. And I am going to label each and every cell where I'm using different seeds. In each of these, I will be making multiple tags, one for each and every cell. The other thing I also like to do is put on the back when I planted it. For expediency, I'm going to go ahead and plant these first set. I think having all of these little tags all in there is going to make it very difficult to plant this actual seeds. So let's go ahead and do the first couple and then we'll go ahead and speed through the rest of it. So we do the King of the North first. All right, so I finally got all of the seeds. It took quite a while. The last thing we're going to do is put vermiculite over the top, just to help maintain the moisture level within the cells. We won't have to water quite as much that way. And then once we put the vermiculite on, we'll spray it with water and get everything settled in really well. Vermiculite also helps to ward off algae growth and dampening off. So that should do it. And now we're just going to spray it in with some water. And the seedlings have been moved into the grow room and they are on their heat mat. The light is currently on, but it really does not need to be on until after they've germinated. So I'll turn the switch for that one off after we're done here. But a lot of the other lights are already on because we have quite a few other things growing. Thank you guys for joining me. Hopefully this video gave you some ideas about what you can do in your own garden this year. If you don't have pepper seeds already, I'll put some links below for where I got mine. But you can even get them at your own at the big box store. So choose 1, 2, or 20 and give it a try. So Best of luck and join me in my next video. Thank you.